So I thought it would be fun to wear only ancient Greek clothing for an entire month. Now, this isn't that out of the ordinary for me because I do wear historical fashion every day, but generally I like to mix and match my eras and my different periods of clothing, so I'm not just like wearing the same period and type of clothing every day for an entire month, except maybe when I used to wear primarily Victorian clothing. This is probably the closest thing I can think of to wearing the same thing every day, but I never had this limitation or restriction on myself. I never committed to only wearing Victorian clothing. In general in life, I actually really don't like things that are like dogmatic and force me into a specific box for an entire period of time, but for the purpose of this challenge to get the experience of what it would be like to actually wear ancient Greek clothing every day for an entire month, I thought it was a very worthwhile endeavor. You know, for the purpose of science and research and experimental archaeology. I chose the best possible season to be doing this because it is currently the height of summer. In fact, I've had this idea for this video for quite a while now, and I've just been putting it off until the weather was warm enough because, yeah, something about wearing really thin, flowy ancient Greek fabrics in the middle of the winter doesn't really sound that appealing. And I know as well too that ancient Greek people did have to experience some colder weather. It's just that all of my ancient Greek clothing that I've hand sewn is made for warmer weather. And I mean, that's the whole point as to why I sewed it in the first place, was to prepare for summer. Ironically though, today it's probably the coldest day of summer so far and it's very rainy and windy. So it's gonna be interesting going out for a walk later wearing this. Oh yeah, by the way, this is my day one outfit. It's this new chiton that I just finished sewing and it's made of a cotton voile, which would have not really been that historically accurate in the sense of like cotton is a more expensive fabric until you get into the 1700s where it starts to become more available, at least in Europe. So it would have been more likely that this would have been made out of wool or linen, but I wanted something that was super lightweight. And unfortunately these days, there's not really lightweight linen like they had in the past historically. And for my footwear, I'm going to try to be wearing these ancient Greek sandals the entire time, which are made by someone actually in Greece. I've already worn them sometimes to get a feel for what they're like on my feet, but the sole is quite thin, and that's the case with a lot of historical footwear actually. It tends to be more minimalist. But luckily I've been wearing historical footwear for quite a while, so my feet are very adapted to wearing very thin soles. For today's outfit, I also paired it up with this necklace and these antique earrings in my collection. I made my hair into kind of this updo with the front left loose, trying to get into the ancient Greek spirit for this challenge. Well, this is day one, and I guess I'll see you all for day two. And then the other 30, 20, 28 days, I can definitely count. All right, well, I'll see you soon. So this is my outfit for day two. It's another ancient Greek chiton that I made, and this time I'm gonna be wearing it loose, though I might belt it later depending on how I feel and if I feel like I need a little bit more structure to the garment. This one is made of a green linen, and it's super comfortable, but it's a little bit heavier weight. So I usually wear it on days where the temperatures aren't super high. For my hair, I did something really simple. I just put it up in a cloth wrap. And for these, I literally just use 18th century neckerchiefs, you know, like the ones you tie around your neck, like if you were riding habits or something. But anyways, I'm gonna go out for a little walk, get some exercise, and I'll see you a little bit later. It is day three, and I am feeling so sick today. Just started feeling really sick this morning, and I've been having a really hard time all day because of it. I've not even been able to leave the house because I've been feeling so unwell, but I am wearing my chiton, so I'm still wearing ancient Greek clothes. I didn't have the energy though to do my hair. I managed to get my makeup on because it takes me 5 minutes, but my hair takes me maybe 10 or 15, so yeah, I just didn't have the energy. So yeah, not an exciting day clothes and hairstyle, etc. wise, but still sticking to the challenge and wearing ancient Greek clothes. To be honest, being sick in a chiton it's pretty cool. It's pretty sick. That has to be that has to be like the worst. I've made some pretty bad puns on this channel, but I think that has to be one of the worst ones I've ever made. You can let me know in the comments if you've watched a lot of my videos if that was the worst pun that I've ever made. Okay, I'm gonna go and rest. I'm way too out of it for this, but I just wanted to show you all proof. Day three, I'm wearing a chiton still being ancient Greek. And honestly, I feel like ancient Greek ladies, like if they were sick one day, I definitely feel like they would have lounged around in an unbelted chiton with their hair down. It just seems like the cozy version. I mean, ancient Greek clothing is already pretty cozy, but it feels like an even cozier version of an already cozy garment. Okay, well now I'm kind of feeling excited to sew a peplos, so I think I'm at least going to cut out the fabric. Found this really pretty fabric in my stash. It's gonna make the perfect peplos, I think. It's definitely cotton, which it would have been really expensive during ancient Greek times. But can I pretend to be regal on this day when I'm not feeling well? Sure, let's do it. This is what I'm gonna be sewing with. And I literally just have to cut out like 2 giant pieces with the selvage to selvage and then fold it over and sew them in at the side seams. Don't even have to finish the side seams, that's how easy this is. And then I guess I have to finish the top seam though, and the bottom seam, but that's okay. I'm excited to have another dress to wear, woo! Okay, I'm gonna stop this now. So this is day 4, and my day 4 outfit I would say is a lot like day 3, except I went a little extra. I put on a beautiful necklace, which reminds me of the necklaces from the Hellenistic period, and I put on these little DNA earrings, which are really cute, and I feel like if it wasn't, obviously DNA wasn't known about during the ancient Greek period, but I do feel like it's something that they would wear. And I'm wearing the burnt orange, the rusty orange keten that I made, my latest one. And for my hair, I did something really simple. I just took little pieces from the front and kind of wrapped them in the back and then tied them with a little piece of twine. And I thought that was nice and kind of felt a bit ancient Greek reminiscent. Big difference about today is that I'm not feeling sick, which is great because I have a chronic illness. So sometimes I'll be going along my day and then I'll have a massive flare-up and then I will be able to do nothing for the entire day and I have to cancel all of my plans. Thankfully, they're getting less and less these days, but I still have them sometimes, and yeah, yesterday was definitely one of those days. But I feel really cute in today's look. I feel like it's perfect for the super hot weather that we're having today. All right, I'll check in a bit later. For day 5, I basically just wore the same as day 4, except way more cozy and less effort with my hair because I mostly stayed at home and worked. But then day 6, I went a little extra again. I put my hair in an updo and wore my light blue keten, which I always get compliments on. People are so incredibly sweet. I paired it up with an antique gold ribbon and this Hellenistic-inspired necklace. Hello everyone, it is day 7 and this is my outfit for the day. I finally just refreshed my natural curls, so I didn't have to curl the front of my hair today. I could just use my actual curls, which was really nice. I always just feel a little bit too not in the mood to have to go through the whole process of maintaining my curly hair. If any of you have curly hair, you know what I mean. It's a whole thing. But today I'm just wearing the same light blue keten that I have from before, and I've belted it with this gold antique ribbon and my Hellenistic necklace. And I put my little antique Italian blown glass earrings as well, and just put my hair in a simple updo. I'm also not done with the peplos. I'm very slowly sewing it, but it will get there, and I'm excited to finally wear it and show you all. And I'm curious if it's gonna get kind of mundane, like always wearing the same thing. All right, see you in the next check-in. The following days kind of felt like a blur. I became quite busy with what was going on in my life. Some days I didn't feel like getting super dressed up, like day 8 where I didn't even feel like showing my face on camera, while others, like day 11, I experimented with new hairstyles and went the extra mile to feel confident with my styling choices and felt extra cute in the process. I think sometimes the hardest thing about these long challenges is actually having to appear on camera day after day, even when I'm not feeling well. It's showing a part of myself in my life that frankly feels really vulnerable sometimes. You can tell a lot by each video the state of my health that day, like for instance the days when I just don't even want to show my face, probably because I wasn't feeling well, and you know, most people when they're not feeling well don't really want to be seen on the internet. But I feel for me it's important to share these parts of my life within reason, of course, because it serves as a reminder that I have so many hard days just like every other human, and there's so much more going on behind the scenes for every single person. I never want my videos to come across as a highlight reel. My life is messy and imperfect, and I'm okay with that. Welcome to day 20. I think it's day 20. The last 20 days, if that's even the correct number, have been such a blur. One of my best friends came to visit me, so I spent a lot of time with her for a week, and I've just been dealing a lot with my chronic illness, so every single day can be so incredibly different. So many of the days I just basically focused on doing the challenge, making sure that I showed up to the challenge still wearing ancient Greek clothing every day. One of the things that I try to do every single day, regardless of how I am feeling, is take a long walk. And so a few days ago, I actually walked 18 kilometers wearing these Greek sandals, the one that I've been wearing during the week. And my feet actually did not hurt. I actually found it extremely comfortable and I didn't have any blisters on my feet, which is amazing. Now, most of this challenge, I've been wearing these same sandals here, except there have been a few instances where I didn't feel as confident. For instance, during the first week when I was still breaking them in, I also switched it out with wearing these kind of like leather ballerina flat Regency style shoes. And that was specifically for much longer walks because I just didn't really feel confident wearing these for such long durations. So I kept just trying to wear them in on say like 7, 8, 9 kilometer walks instead of like 18 kilometer walks. But eventually I had the courage to wear them for the entire 18 kilometers and it actually was amazing. It was way more comfortable than even these leather ballerina flat ones that I wear. Except today I had to go somewhere for an appointment. So I wasn't going to risk wearing these sandals and I had to wear my Edwardian replica boots. I kind of feel like now that things in my life have calmed down a little bit, this is when the challenge is really starting. Now my feet are acclimated to the shoes and my body's acclimated to wearing Ketons all the time. And all right, well, there's only 10 days left to go. Let's see how much more experimental archaeology I can squeeze into this next 10 days. On days 21 and 22, I enjoyed wearing my green linen Keton in 2 different ways, on the first day belted and on the second unbelted. Whenever I wear these unbelted, I always feel like I can fly away like a little bird. I think it's day 23. I pretty recently woke up and I thought it'd be a nice day for some experimental archaeology, you know, on top of the already existing theme of experimental archaeology for this entire video. I recently released a video where I made and tried on an ancient Greek bra, and I say bra in quotes because the historical evidence for it actually being used as a bra commonly or in what specific circumstances is very lacking and there's a lot of gaps in information, but it was just kind of a fun video to be able to see maybe what it would have been like. Well, I thought that today I could actually wear this bra, it's called a strophion, for the entire day and let you all know how it is and if it is supportive, if it stays put. Just, you know, a little experience of having it throughout the whole day because for the actual video, I didn't get to wear it for the entire day. I just kind of tried it on. So I thought, what better time than underneath my ancient Greek clothing? So now I'm going to just kind of wrap it and maybe pin it. I'll see if I can go without pins because who knows if they actually would have used pins or fibulae for the wrapping of the strophion. So I'm going to see what I can do and I have some errands to run and I think I might also go on a hike and we are going to see if it stays put all day or if it's sliding and I have to constantly fix it, or if I just have to take it off completely at some point. Normally I wear shifts of some sort underneath my ancient Greek clothing just for a little bit more coverage. So I'm going to wear the strophion instead of the shift and see if it does the trick, because the ancient Greek people likely didn't wear shifts. I mean, we don't really know, but usually the Keton or whatever they were wearing, peplos, was just worn directly on the body, or perhaps over a strophion. Again, we don't really know for sure. Now for you all, I'm going to be wearing the strophion just over a shift for my privacy, but in actual real life, I will be wearing it without the shift underneath and then just put the keys in on top. Does that work? And then maybe give it a little knot. I also didn't use any pins, I just did a knot and tucked under it because I did read all the comments on that video. There were a lot of really brilliant ideas. So I thought that this might be a better solution. Thank you all for your feedback. I really do appreciate it because I learn a lot as well from your contributions in the comments. Now I'm going to basically, in private, take off my shift, put this back on in the same way, and then put my Keton on over it and go about my day and let you all know how it goes. Now I want to let you know that I'm being very careful because I know there are some risks with bust binding, so I will always honor my own body. I will not be, you know, pushing my body's limits. And I actually feel like I can breathe just fine in it right now, so that's really good. And if I ever need to take it off because it's uncomfortable or I feel like I can't breathe, then I'll just take it off and we'll see how the day goes on. All right, the strophion is on underneath this. I can feel it. Also, one thing I noticed is that the ribbon here is kind of helping to support the strophion because it's like right below where it's tied. So it's kind of just creating like an extra little shelf of support. So yeah, that's really interesting. And I actually feel like everything's holding well, so we will see. I'll let you know how the rest of the day goes. So I've done my makeup and hair for the day and I'm ready to go out, and I've already had to readjust this Strophian once, so we shall see how it keeps going. I'm gonna keep a count on how many times I have to readjust it, because I have a little inkling that I'm gonna have to be readjusting it again pretty soon. I feel like part of this might be because the fabric that I'm using, this specific linen, is a little bit thicker than I think maybe it would have been historically. And so really this is just a bunch of guesswork, because we have little to no idea of what it was actually like for people historically during the ancient Greek period, or even if this was commonly worn or just in certain depictions or sports or something. This is just a little experiment. So I'm out for a little hike, and it's been about 5 or 6 hours since I put on the Strophian. I've not had to readjust it the second time yet, but it is so annoying and I just want to take it off so badly. I think that I need to come up with a better solution next time around if I try this again, because I think the fabric needs to be thinner. I also think that, yeah, just it's not hot enough, so I don't have any like sweat helping it stay up. The under ribbon here is definitely helping a lot, but yeah, it's just not really staying put super well. It's not falling off either, because the under ribbon kind of prevents that from happening, but I don't really feel like it's benefiting me that much in any way. So I think I'm just gonna remove it. And when I try this again, I think I'm gonna go back to the drawing board and try something else, because yeah, whatever this is right now, whatever I've tried is not really working. We tried, didn't work, we need to try again. That's the scientific method, right? So I've taken off the Strophian now and I feel much freer. It feels like, you know, I don't have this slipping constant thing on me, slowly falling. So now I feel like I can properly enjoy my hike. Wild blackberry season is starting, and there's just so many of them and they're just absolutely delicious. Obviously I'm safely foraging them, but yeah, wild blackberries are one of my favorite things to forage. They're so good. Oh, that one's a bit sour. Ooh, still very good though. There's just a certain flavor to wild blackberries that I feel like the store-bought ones just don't really compare. I feel much freer now, so I'm gonna enjoy the rest of my hike and try this whole Strophian thing another day. On day 24, I definitely felt the most beautiful of any of the days. I completely refreshed my natural curls, and it took me a solid 2 hours, which is why I often don't spend the time to fully wash, add product, and diffuse my curls, and I tend to just brush them out. On this day, I went to a sort of historical fantasy festival to see some of my friends. It's always fun wearing my usual historical fashion to historical inspired or fantasy events, because it's one of the rare times where I feel immensely underdressed and like my outfits are incredibly understated compared to everyone else. Days 25 and 26 were more casual ancient Greek clothing, and I brushed out my curls again because they were a knotted mess. I had a lot to catch up on work-wise, so I took it easy at home in my Ketons. It is day 27, and I just woke up from a nap, so I'm a little bit like, ugh. You know, like how it feels when you wake up from a nap that lasted way longer than you thought it would. But day 27, that means that this month-long challenge is almost done, and I just had to jump in here to show you something. Look at this amazing vintage belt that I thrifted for 18 euros. Isn't it amazing? I don't know how I found this gem of a belt, but I did, and it is so perfect going with these Ketons, in my opinion. I feel like it has a very ancient Greek feeling to it, so I've been really into historical statement belts at the moment. I don't know why. And I just cannot believe that this month is almost done. It sort of flew by. It also was quite long in a lot of other ways, but I'm really, really used to wearing Ketons now, and I can't even really imagine wearing other clothing now when the weather gets colder. Oh, also, the peplos, right, I forgot to update you all about the peplos. I have been sewing the peplos, it is nearly done. I'm just finishing the last part of the hemming at the top, and then I can finally show it to you all. It's just in the nick of time before the challenge ends. All right, well, I'm gonna check back in tomorrow on day 28. I started day 28 by finally finishing this peplos. I just want to remind you that it's okay if your sewing projects are taking longer than you originally planned. Sewing slower can actually be far better in the long run, and at least for me, I find it way more therapeutic and relaxing. I just finished sewing the peplos. Do you know what that means? I'm gonna be wearing the out of this thing for the next 3 days until the challenge ends. I'm gonna go and try it on, and I have no idea how this peplos is going to look. I'm going to be fastening the top with these copper giant safety pins because they remind me the most of fibulae, which were typically used during the ancient Greek period. They're sort of like the modern safety pin. So this is the closest thing I could get without having to spend a lot of money on a replica. So I'm gonna go and try and figure out how to put this thing on, and I'll see you all in a moment. To put the peplos on, I took the tube of fabric that I sewed on the right side and folded over the top edge to my desired length so that the inside seams would show. I made the seams look as pretty as possible in the inside because I knew that they would be part of the visible garment. Then I fastened 2 safety pins where I wanted the garment to sit at my shoulders, and that was it. It was really that simple. I think it looks super cool. It definitely feels very ancient Greek. I'm gonna now tie it with a ribbon and see how it looks, but I'm just so amazed that this very simple tubular rectangular garment can make such a cool drape effect and create such an interesting garment with a lot of dimension and intrigue. So let's tie it up and see how it changes. I love this. This is so cool. I really like this garment. I'm so glad that I made one of these. I want to make a bunch more now. It kind of feels like weirdly modern in a lot of ways too. Like I could totally see this being worn on the modern fashion runways or something. I'm gonna go into full ancient Greek transformation mode. See you in a second. I definitely feel ridiculously ancient Greek wearing this peplos and this hair wrap. So yep, there's day 28. Super cute. I love this peplos so much. Super adorable. And you can see my mic magnet. Please ignore that. But other than that, very ancient Greek. Okay everyone, see you all for day 29. It's almost done. It is day 29, and as predicted, I am wearing the peplos that I finished making yesterday again because it is an amazing garment. I just feel like it's such an elegant garment as well, and it's so interesting, and yet it's so simple in construction, really. Like if you're not really sure where to get started with historical sewing, if you make a chiton or a peplos, I think you'll be very impressed by how easy it is. You get to use some of your skills as well to make it, and then you don't just have to like toss or hide in the back of your wardrobe your very first project. You can actually don it out on the town. I don't know why that sounded like a novel from 80 years ago, but yeah. Today for jewelry, I'm wearing this secondhand necklace and little pearl earrings, and I decided to wear it loose, so I might tie the peplos at some point. And I'm also wearing my natural curls at the front because, yeah, I love doing that. Tomorrow is the last day. This has been such a fun challenge. I've honestly been enjoying this so much. I've been loving wearing ancient Greek clothing every day, especially this summer. Although I am a little bit ready to get back to wearing some of the other garments in my wardrobe, and it's been a wonderful glimpse into how it maybe would have been like as well for ancient Greek people living day to day. And it seems that I've been a little bit obsessed with ancient Greece recently, so there's maybe going to be more videos in the future about it. And by maybe, I mean there is. Alright, well, I'll see you all for day 30, the final day. It is day 30, the very final day. And this is what I'm wearing today. The peplos again, of course. Today I'm doing something pretty fun. I'm going to be meeting up with one of my friends, so I'll be wearing my ancient Greek peplos for the entire day, of course. And he actually also wears historical fashion, so it's not going to be any surprise to him that I'm wearing historical fashion as well. And for today's outfit, I paired it up with this necklace and my little DNA earrings that I think look historical, but they kind of also look like DNA strands, so it's sort of anachronistic, and I just really like that for some reason. But I'm just feeling really good today. After the day is done today, I'm going to take a little bit of time to reflect on what this month was like for me, and then come back to you all with nice little report, okay? See you a little bit later. I had a really lovely day spending time with one of my friends, and someone working at a store commented how I looked like an ancient Greek goddess, which was so sweet. And I was impressed by her ability to get the time period correct as well. I felt a little bit sad on this day about the month-long challenge coming to an end, but before I knew it, it was time to say goodbye to this experience. It has been about a week since this experiment ended, so I've had a bit of time to decompress and to really reflect on what this month has been like for me. I'm not going to make this end part drag on too long, but there is something that I want to acknowledge, which is that I feel an immense sense of gratitude to the 4 garments that carried me through this month. And what this also showed me is that we need so very little in life, at least in terms of material possessions. It's wonderful to have things that we find beautiful, that fill our lives up with joy. But the moments that I appreciated the most throughout the month were the times that I got to connect with the people that I love. And to me, that is the real wealth. The amount of love that we get to share with others, the quality of our connections, the depth of our honesty and vulnerability with one another on a human level. And I just feel grateful that those garments that I was wearing throughout the month got to be a part of that. But more than anything, because I made them with my own hands, to me, that is like a form of connection. And it re-solidified for me why I continue to spend all these thousands of hours hand stitching my own clothing and doing this type of work. And it's to be able to not only connect with all of you, but also to connect with the people of the past. The very people that laid some of the foundations that we walk upon today, that show us the areas where we can improve and do differently, and also that show us the wisdom that we can carry with us into the future. So I really enjoyed this month. I really enjoyed wearing all this ancient Greek clothing, but more than ever, I enjoyed what it made me realize about myself and what really matters in my own life. So thank you all for giving me the platform to be able to do these types of experiences, to jump deeper into my own self-reflection. And I hope that you've enjoyed following along for the journey. If you'd like to see me experiment with eating only Viking food for a week, then be sure to watch this video next. I appreciate you so much for watching, and see you all in 2 weeks for another video.